Okay. Welcome, everybody. So, this is the live stream of the $50 million lawsuit and how to avoid it. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Um, so, let me just check to make sure everything is live and going and there's no problems. Good. Looks good. Looks good. Okay. So, what is this? So, I had found, it was brought to my attention that there was this business, I think they're called Growth Cave, that had been around for a few years, and enough people were complaining about getting, like paying for their services and then not getting any results, or it was something completely different, or basically just being scammed. And we'll sort of go over all of it, and I found some good stuff here to go over with you, and um, we'll see here what we can pull up. But I wanted to go over a couple of things. One is, in going over this, I'm hoping that I can show you, well, what to look for, the kind of words and phrases that these kinds of people and groups and things like that do and use, and then also how to avoid them, or how to find if something's actually genuine or not. So um, let's jump right in here. Let's see. I might have a guest joining me later. We'll see. But for now, it's just me. So let's see. Only me. Let's see if I can make myself a little bigger. Sorry if you have to wait for me to figure out how to make me fit. Yeah, we'll figure this out. Let's see. There we go. For now, it'll just be like that. I'll probably have to adjust it later. Let's see. Well, anyway, it is what it is, right? Okay, so to get into this, the FTC takes action to stop sprawling growth cave business opportunity and credit repair scam. This was brought to my attention. At first, I was like, "Well, what is this?" And the more I dug into it, I was like, "Okay, this is very much the stuff that you see where it's like, hey, how would you like to make 10,000 or 20,000, or how would you like to, make millions of dollars doing nothing but watching YouTube videos, stuff like that." That seems on its surface seems very basic, but when you start digging into it, you're like, how do these people fall for this? Now, anything I say in this video is my opinion. Okay, I don't know these people, and I don't know. There's a case that was just brought into them, just started, I guess. So I'm not, I can't say for a fact that this is what's happening. I can only observe it from the outside as somebody who has decades of marketing experience, sort of understand what may or may not have happened. So of course, I'll do my best to stay out of the issues that come along with it. But I wanted you to be able to see this. So let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Let's see. Yeah, we will. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. We'll add. Let's see. There we go. Now you can hear me, right? Yeah. Much better. Much, much, much better. And we'll do a simple mask. Let's see. Move it over so you can actually see me. There we go. Just like that. Boop. All right. And then I'll just move myself out of the way. There. All right. So FTC takes action to stop sprawling growth cave business opportunity and credit repair scam. So the court issues this freeze. And what is this? It's as a result of the Federal Trade Commission lawsuit. Federal court has temporarily halted operations of Growth Cave. So what is Growth Cave? Well, this gentleman, Lucas Lee Tyson, Ozzy Blessed, and Jordan Marksberry, they have this Growth Cave business, which is like a business acceleration kind of thing. And what it allows people to do is it's like how to make money in your business quickly with the promises of guaranteed income. And honestly, it's a little hard to even find at the moment. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that that they took a bunch of stuff down. I think it's because once this lawsuit started showing up, they were like, oh, we got to like cover our tracks. I'm guessing. Like I said, I don't know for sure. Don't hold me to it, but that's what it appears like. So consumers seeking to start a business deserve an honest chance, not false promises, a reliable income. FTC has its eye on business opportunity. And we'll get into what some of the complaints are. Right, they've sort of done a few businesses since then. They keep changing their names, they keep changing their business structure and the layout. But in a sense, it really is just like a hey, like make money now kind of thing, right? Some things to consider is that it's like they had this make money in your business quickly offer that was enticing, and a lot of the videos were like, hey, you can make money watching YouTube videos or with your own channel or with some basic setup. You don't need anything fancy or large. Like you can do this very easily. And that's not it. We'll go over like one of the ads I managed to dig up and find and sort of how it was presented. But it made it seem like there was these easy payoff, like little work for easy payoff, which is always one of the things you have to be careful of. Now, all of this is alleged, right? That they deceived customers as early as 2020. And ended up being this $50 million lawsuit. And a lot of this comes from their Knowledge Business Accelerator, which is like their whatever digital education program, however they want to say it, where it's like, oh, you can make 20 to 50K passive. You know, this was per month. And it was like, it's literally impossible to fail. You hear things like that. And although it might get you excited, you might be like, hey, this is awesome. You really have to be careful with words like that. Like, there's no way it's impossible to fail. There just isn't. Then I'll get into more of this otherwise. Anyway, so they have these strategy calls. They offer them a $10,000 profit guarantee, which puts a lot of people at ease, and, so they can recoup their money if they invest in it, because the programs are like 10K and up. And then they had an upgraded version, the next level, Digital Freedom Mastermind, and that's an additional 30 to 50,000. I think I saw it around 40K, something like that. That's what people are doing. So the most people who buy this include those who pay for the upsell, right? And that most of them is what it's saying is most of them don't make a single sale. Like they don't make any money. So you pay like 50K into this program and you never make any money off of it. And a lot of this is because it's said as like it's done for you when it really isn't. Now, Wealthy Business Owners guaranteed that it would place participants as one of their business owner clients. So like another tier of this was this Cash Flow Consultant Academy. So the idea of this is you bought in, you're like, hey, you're going to make this money with this. And they're like, hey, in order to make it even easier, we're going to connect you with somebody who's already making a ton of money so they can show you, they can help you do it too. Except it was just other people who had already paid and had been in for a while possibly, and most likely hadn't made any money. And then they had this credit repair scheme. I'm not too sure on this, but it looks like you would sign up for this. I think it's like another 7,000, 6,800. And all they would do is open credit cards up for your business entity. So you had to have like an LLC, and then they would just go and try and open business credit cards for you, which is, to me, is kind of silly as a thing that you would do. Like, why? Like, I understand a lot of business owners are new, and this is kind of what this is preying on. This is preying on somebody who wants to be a business owner. Maybe they just started, they're having some trouble, and they're like, oh, I could use this. And then you hear these promises of, look how much money these people are making. Look how young these guys are, which we'll get into it. It's like, if these young guys who dropped out of college or whatever are making this much money, you can too. Like, sign up. It can't be that hard. It's got to be copy and paste. And of course, it's just nonsense. And then they've rebranded. They've rebranded a few times, which haven't been able to get away. So they rebranded this passive apps things, which is like this AI fueled. So they jumped on the bandwagon. So back in 2020, it was like make money on YouTube because COVID happened. Everyone was locked inside. People were making money on YouTube. So they jumped on that. And then it's like, as time goes on, they sort of fizzled those businesses out. And they're like, hey, let's rebrand this to this thing now. And it's just absolute nonsense. Right? It's just crazy talk. It's like you've got to be kidding me. So now we have this other businesses that I think they were trying to get away. They're like, well, it's not the same business, but they're not that dumb. So the FTC is not that dumb. So it was like, we see what you're doing, and yeah, this is the biggest issue, right? The complaint alleges that they deceptively reuse the exact same testimonials provided by purchasers to advertise the passive apps. Now this is a common misconception about what you can and can't do with testimonials. What you cannot do is you cannot use testimonials to lie. I'm willing to bet that possibly some of these testimonials may have been made up, but I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, I'm just guessing, because if you're willing to do this, you're probably willing to lie about them as well. I would always say, if you're going to use it, say you've got a similar product and you have no testimonials for this new similar product, what can you do? Well, ideally, you find some people who are willing to purchase your product at a huge discount for a testimonial, so you can get some real authentic testimonials. That's the right way to do it, because then you have people who've actually purchased. It's kind of like a beta test of your program. So before you launch it out to the public, you're like, hey, I'm releasing this thing, but it's private. There's only a few people I'm going to let in. I want to test it out, and you can get in for less than it'll be for launch, because there's kinks. But you also will be required to give a testimonial if it turns out to be something that's worthwhile. Like, you can't force them to give you a good testimonial. You can just say a testimonial. Good, bad, ugly, whatever. You just want to find out. Doesn't seem like that's what these guys did. And of course, if you're in credit repair, there's a whole lot of other rules. So it's kind of like they thought it would be just an easy segue. Let's make some more money. We can open up some credit cards for them. And that's, when you don't look into the compliance nature of the business that you're in and what you can and can't do, that's a big problem. And a lot of times what I say is, you're not really ever going to find rules that tell you what you can do, but you will find a lot of rules that tell you what you can't do. And your job as a smart marketer and a savvy business owner is to look at what you can't do and say, okay, I won't do those things, and figure out how you can do what you want, as long as you don't violate those rules that you can't do. Right. So there's a lot of, I know it's kind of a confusing way of explaining what you can and can't do, but the reality of it is, it is possible to do a lot of things that people don't think they can in their industry because of the rules that are there. But that's because they let the rules dictate what they can do. But the rules aren't designed to do that. The rules are designed to tell you what you're not allowed to do. Everything else is on the table. Okay. And if you're ever not sure, I'm not an attorney, I don't have any sort of legal background, check with a lawyer and, be like, hey, this is what the rules say. I want to do this. Is this violating that? And they'll tell you, right? Hopefully they'll tell you. So they went in, they shut this down. So what is all of this really, right? Let me see. I just want to make sure everything's still going. There's no problems. Yep. Okay. Good. All right. So what does this mean for you and your business, right? So let's take a look. So this is passive apps. This is the new thing that they sort of revised into. And having dug into this, I can tell you right now, this is a small version. It's like a dumbed down version of their site. They removed a lot from it. There really isn't anything here. And the reason why I say that is there's no testimonials, and there's not much like here on it. And this is one of the guys. And if you like click on it, it just sends you to this page, which is like, okay, how to make passive income from the Apple App Store using AI. Next class is starting soon, no buttons or anything like that. So these are the pages that remain. Probably, I don't know if he was required to leave them up there by law or what, but this is what I could find of it. So it's like, all right, I can kind of see, they're using the done for you system I'm using to earn passive income from apps I don't make myself, which who wouldn't want that? Yeah, let me create a bunch of apps that I never actually have to make, and then I just make money from it. The number one most profitable type of app, how I'm using AI. So they're using a lot of buzzwords and a lot of things that people want when they're with their business. They want a done for you system. They want passive income. They want the number one most profitable type of app without having to think about it. They want to use AI, right? They want to use all this stuff. Like, it's a very If you're not savvy as to what he's doing, it's a very compelling offer. Now, what's missing here are all the testimonials that he used to have around it, which build on it even more. What I always say is the warning signs are it's vague, right? Like it's way too vague. That why can't you tell me what the number one most profitable type of app is? Like there's no reason why you couldn't tell me, because even if you told me what the app is and what kind of app it is, the idea is you could still sell this because it's done for you. So there's no harm in telling me what the type of app is, right? If you're like, hey, you could go into more detail. App has 1.5 billion customers. This is the number one type of app that's sold on the App Store. And I'm going to show you how to use AI to make this kind of app and many types of it to rake it. Like, okay, there's no harm, but you keep it kind of all secretive to make it seem, because if you give too much away, people might be like, okay, this seems kind of shady. Or if you just sort of build that suspense, which this is trying to do, is trying to build that desire to want to know, like, I want to know what this is. He could tell you, but by indicating that you're gonna find out, it makes you more likely to sign up. Makes you more likely to sign up for the web class and get on board. So I did some more digging and I found their old offer. And as you can see, everything's gone, right? I'm sorry, this video doesn't exist. This video doesn't exist. The video doesn't exist. And here's my question, right? If these are real testimonials, why do you need to take them down? Why do you need to take them down? If they're legitimate testimonials from customers who had these results, like here, there should be no reason for you to remove the video testimonial. There just shouldn't be, because it could be that person's unique experience. And a lot of times, if you look up the FTC compliance, it says you got to put the whole, results not typical. So there's no reason for these to be gone. But on top of that, his entire sales pitch video is gone too, right? But the page is kind of still here. And of course, these don't really do anything. If you can click, but here's what the promises are, right? Oh, he was stuck at 4,000 a month, looking to scale. Within the first month of working together, he closed 2 new $4,000 a month clients, tripling his income. And he's on track to do that within the first month, right? Do it now is his advice. Here's looking for more predictable system. I want new clients, get consistent results faster. And in 3 weeks, Loz has earned back their investment. Says he's never had this many warm leads to talk to. His advice is invest in yourself if I have the drive but are tired of being stuck. When I read these kind of testimonials, I'm like, bullshit. I'm sorry, this is bullshit. I've never heard anybody talk like this. Have you ever met somebody who is like, the only time I've heard of like do it now is maybe go see a movie, like, oh, go see it now. But even then, it's, if a movie's really good, that movie was really good. Like, they don't say like, go watch it now. Like, even if they're real excited, it's very, usually people say along the lines of, you won't, forget what it is, but it's like, you won't make a mistake, or, don't hesitate on this, or, go ahead and take the risk. But the whole do it now screams kind of like, okay. And then this, Loz has already earned. Why isn't Loz speaking? Usually we have quotes, right? This is what they actually said. And this is the business owner describing, when you could just have Loz saying this, right? Same thing with this. Camilla runs like, here you have screenshots, right? Can you share your rev numbers? Yep, for the last 7 days, we're currently at 40K in client bookings. And that's completely off Facebook with our 5K in ad spend. Correct? You guys are kicking ass, ha ha ha, right? So this is interesting, right? That's completely off Facebook with our 5K in ad spend, that in 7 days, you're at 40,000 in client bookings. Okay. So word, I won't be able to make it happen without a case study, but this works. 6K in the bank, and I have 2 other prospects who are likely going to close today. So we're missing some context, but like, this is okay. These are them speaking, right? My blah, blah funnel booked me 22 appointments last week, and I haven't even gotten into paid traffic yet. I can't wait to blow this up, right? It's like, okay. What kind of numbers? Facebook ad spend 1,100, emails 186, cost per lead is $6, 18 application, so $62 per booking. They already converted one at 4,800, so 5x ROAS, ROI, and expecting 2 more to convert over the next couple of weeks, so 10 to 15x. So this seems like these are awesome numbers, but the reality of it is, if you have a strong offer and say your offer's for $5,000 and you have a good funnel set up and your application screens people properly, it's not hard if you have a good product to make this happen. The problem is this right here, the 1122, that's where a lot of people get scared. They'll spend like $10 and they'll be like, it's not working. Same thing here. Like, thanks man for understanding. You guys are totally killing it right now. So these people aren't doing anything, right? They're paying them it's almost like they're paying them to do the ads, and a lot of his messaging is different. Like he talks about Facebook ads, and he doesn't say Facebook ads. He says no Facebook ads, and then there's Facebook ads. So there's some conflicting information in these testimonials. But he's like, hey, just went through some of our stats, spent, $17,000 in Facebook ads and made 94,000, or 12 people at 7,800, right? And they're like, I remember the training did that showed that a 7-figure business is just 83K a month. And yeah, I mean, when you actually look at it, to make $1 million, it's only this much per month. There is no discussion about what kind of products these are. So this is probably a very specialized product, most likely some sort of coaching or something like that, where they can take specialized knowledge and charge a lot for it. And you have to be able to find clients that have that need to fill the gap. So there are some questions here about what kind of people they're bringing in, but they make it seem like anybody could join. Hey, even if you're selling $10 shirts, come on in and you'll make, $50K a month. So here's these are a lot of the warning signs, right? But this is what gets people on. So they see this short video that covers God knows what, and then they see all these testimonials and people making all this money, and they're like, well, maybe I should do it, right? And I know there's a lot missing here, but it's like usually it's let's chat, right? Or take a look at the funnel we use, right? Which doesn't go to anything. Like if I click on this, there's nothing here. It's just gone. Like we generate this, media not found. Right? You can't book it. But basically it's the same thing. It's, check out this video, which I'm going to display my funnel and how easy it is. Get on a call with me. Here are the testimonials. It's the same testimonials from the other one, right? And then it's like, join our community here. And then you have your FAQs. Now, a lot of what they would tell you is that they have this money back guarantee. It's like, it may be spend 10,000, but they promise you'll make it back or your money back and stuff like that. And that's where you start to get a little iffy, right? So I found their videos. VidTowels, I'm on the free trial version of it. I'm not even in the trial. I just pulled it up, and I managed to find a whole bunch of their videos that are no longer listed, right? So we're talking years worth of videos that are just gone, right? It doesn't look like they put out a lot, but these are all of their testimonial videos or their make money videos. Like there's a lot of them on here, and they're under a few different channels. So I went looking for the Growth Cave, and I found out they also were doing it under Lucas Lee, Lucas of Growth Cove, Lucas Lee Tyson. So he had several channels as well promoting the same ads. And this can be a means of trying to make it seem like, and these were almost like testimonial type videos and stuff like that. So it makes it seem like if you're on YouTube that all these different people are talking about your program, when in reality, it's just the same guy with 10 channels and slightly different reviews. So I managed to find one that's still up. And this is him talking about if I can speak, it's him talking about his passive apps. Right. And basically he just comes out and he's like, hey, it's got to do with here. Let me see if I can get the audio on this, and then we can listen to it. Let's see. Yes, we'll use okay, speakers. There we go. Let's see if this will come through.
Income stream in 2023, because if you have the YouTube app on your phone, you could be using it to create an automated 6-figure passive income stream, even if you're already busy with work, family, and other life stuff. My name's Lucas Lee Tyson, and I actually became a millionaire at 24 years old using the YouTube app on my phone. And before you ask, no, I'm not a YouTuber, I'm not an influencer or someone that already has millions and millions of followers. In fact, I've made over $10 million in the last couple of years using the YouTube app on my phone without ever making my own YouTube videos or even trying to start my own YouTube channel. And a lot of people hear that and they say there's no way that you could make that kind of money literally just by using the YouTube app on your phone. But it's true. In fact, I've taught over 650 normal, everyday, hardworking people how to launch an automated 6-figure passive income stream literally just using the YouTube app on their phone in as little as 7 days. And with all the craziness going on in the world right now, it has never been more important to have multiple sources of income streams to set yourself and your family and your loved ones up for financial security and financial freedom. If that sounds interesting to you, today is your lucky day, because I've just put together a free case study that not only breaks down exactly how I've made this kind of money and how our students and clients are getting these kinds of results, but how you can copy and paste this
Now, usually if you're doing a video like this, that would be a point that you would actually show your students, your clients. You would want to show more data. Additionally, the pop he showed earlier of like revenue, considering the number of different businesses he's had, and they're all sort of in the same vein, that could have been taken from any of them. So this is one of those things that you'll see videos like this promoting some offer, look at the money I've made, but unless you actually get into the data and actually take a look, it's really hard to identify, is this what he's offering here actually where the money came from? And a lot of times it's not. People just say it is.
Exact same system. How to take advantage of this one loophole in YouTube's algorithm to use the YouTube app on your phone to make a second income stream online in as little as 7 days without becoming a YouTuber, and how you can do this exact same process yourself. All you need is an internet connection, your phone, and ideally a laptop.
All you need is two things: an internet connection and a phone, which is what most people have, and ideally a laptop. So it indicates like, hey, you don't need anything besides your phone, because most people, their phone has internet with it. So they're trying to make it as brain dead simple. Like, why wouldn't you check this out? Look how easy it is. You don't even really need a computer, but it would help if you do.
Put together a no frills case study video that breaks down everything step by step. It's something so simple, we literally have college dropouts as well as 80-year-old grandmothers doing this exact same thing.
Once again, if you're going to say something like that, if you want to make this, like, if you want to take this, you want to make it a usable format, why wouldn't you have those testimonials here? Why wouldn't you have them? An 80-year-old grandma like Susan B. Gregory, who just had her 82nd birthday. Here's a photo of her, and there's the money that she made, and here's how happy she is. This is also a college dropout who was going to school for, I don't know, learning how to paint lead. Sure, it's a thing. And decided that he would make more money doing this after doing it for a few months. Here's, you know what I mean? Like, you put them in. You don't just say them. Additionally, case studies are awesome. Why wouldn't you start with the case study? The information on it. Like, we have this case study about whatever, Giorgio, and how he was struggling and how we took him from here to here. See the full details of the case study. Like, if you actually have something, you would give them more.
So if you click on the link around this video right now, you'll be brought to a page where you can get instant access to this case study video, and you can start watching right away. But be warned, just with everything going on in the world right now, I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to keep this opportunity online. So if you're at all interested in creating a second income stream online to protect yourself and your family against all the financial craziness that's going to be happening, click on the link around this video right now.
So these kind of videos are very common, but this is, now I don't know how well this did, but this is the one that sends you to this page, right? This is how I had first found it. Like, it just goes from there to there. Like, it's the exact one. I clicked on it, ended up here. So it's the exact same thing, right? On this class, you're gonna learn this, which is kind of, this is what I was saying before about you offer one thing and then you change it. So you're talking about a case study, and then on this page, it's like, oh, get on this web class. But a lot of people will forget why they're there, although they'll be a little like, wait, why did I click here again? And the idea is that you sell them on it over again. So it's a strategy I've seen several times. This is very reminiscent of things like the Tai Lopez style ads, Annex Signal. There's some other people, right? And it's kind of frustrating because it's a very common thing that comes up. And why does it keep being used? Because people keep falling for it. Marketing can be very easy if you know what you're doing, but it can be very hard if it's not something you've studied. And most people are doing their business. They're running their business. They're not necessarily worried too much about they hear marketing. They think brochures or a couple ads should be easy, throw it up, and then it's not. And they run into problems. And so you have these kind of businesses sort of preying on those people. And then it gets worse. So once people got into it, right, they have this Growth Cave Knowledge Business Accelerator program, which is the thing that the FTC is coming after them. And we'll just read a little bit of this, all right? The program's initial promises, subsequent changes have left me feeling unsatisfied. As conveyed that we would receive comprehensive support for running YouTube ads, which is different than like the Facebook ads we saw earlier or the App Store. Like, they're kind of all over the place. So that's another warning sign. With a promising example involving Taylor Swift. I really would have liked to see this ad. Fortunately, I don't get to, but it would have been really nice to have seen it. Within a week, so within 7 days, the entire roadmap shifted, right? It required me to independently locate Facebook groups, establish a niche. So this is probably like, hey, go find groups of people who are struggling with this problem. Go in there, see what the big problems are. We'll train you on the little thing that you might need to be able to sell them this $5,000 or $6,000 offer. And now you're not running any ads anywhere. You're just providing help and then asking if people want to chat with you on a call. And now you're not spending any money ads, and boom, money. And while that can work, it's not a bad strategy. It's incredibly sleazy because you're offering to sort of help people, but then you sort of scam them into a $6K a month deal. And if you're not really knowledgeable in the topic, say you're just learning it, it's not an ideal way because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. But despite being assured of a call with an expert to guide me in product development, this did not materialize. My coach appeared inexperienced, often hesitating and failing to provide satisfactory responses to my inquiries. I've seen this a lot, and I've recently been replaced by a inexperienced coach that would hesitate and fail to provide satisfactory responses as well, which is why I'm on my own, doing my own thing now, which is fine. But it's very common for business owners who are like, hey, I'm making a lot of money doing this. How do I make more money? So instead of finding experts, they find people that they can give them like an SOP or, hey, follow this and help them out. And the problem is that this kind of information, this kind of knowledge is not SOPable. Like there are so many little nuances to it that, yeah, eventually AI is going to replace me, and I'm well aware of that, but I still got some time. This isn't making a burger, right? It's not like heat to this temperature, flip, make sure it's this much internal temperature, apply this much cheese, buns, and ketchup. Not saying there isn't a science behind burger making, but there's a reason why you can automate a fast food place, because you don't need to hesitate on things like that. It just has to hit the guidelines. Whereas if you're coaching a business and it's their livelihood, they want somebody who's got some practical experience, which, reach out to me if you need someone like that. But this lacks confidence in their guidance. And here's the other thing. Maybe their guidance was actually spot on. Maybe their advice was actually really good, but the problem is the person delivering it doesn't even know that. And because they don't know that, they come across with this lack of confidence, which makes a business owner go, what the hell am I listening to? This guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. So, in light of the concerns, he's withdrawing from the program, requests the company initiate cancellation requests. And, he said he obtained a $10,000 loan. Never get a loan for a coaching program. For the love of God, don't do it. If you have to take out a loan, forget it. Go find resources like myself and other places that can get you a little bit further along. When you start making money, you can hire people like myself to actually help you, but never get a loan, right? Intention of financing his enrollment in the whatever program, as he was given assurances that a full refund would be available in the event of program dissatisfaction, which is blurry. They blur the lines on that a lot of times. It's my belief this organization engages in deceptive. Oh, look, our cat's here to join the party. Financial situations who are striving to make ends meet. Yeah, my belief that this organization engages in deceptive practices, targeting individuals in vulnerable financial situations who are striving to make ends meet. Do you want to be on the podcast? No? Okay. Everyone wants their cancellation, right? And it's like, hey, immediately file a complaint with your general attorney. And why do they want to file it with the attorney? Right? There's a lot of reasons for that. Let's see here. Okay. there's a lot of reasons for that. Oh, looks like my guest has joined. So let me see about adding him in here. There we go. And he's not here. He's not in here. So give me a second to get him set up. Here we go. There he is. Hey, here we go. There's my guest and my cat.
Love it. That's exactly
I
what
don't
we
know if
want to
I can hear. Can you hear me? Can you speak?
see. Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you yet. So give me 1 second. Let me adjust.
yeah,
Let me
no
adjust your
problem.
audio here. Let's see. There we go. Now I should be able to hear you. So go ahead and talk.
Yeah.
There we
Can you
go.
hear me now?
Yes. Okay,
Perfect.
good. So I was just going through this disaster.
Oh, yes.
Hi. So I'm on to the complaints here of Growth Cave. Come on, Kitty. All right, she really wants attention. Yeah, let me give her some room here.
Oh,
Special guest, Cleopatra.
yeah, you got two special guests.
Yeah, one's furrier than the other one. Okay,
Yes.
now So then we have this digital freedom. I don't know if you saw any of these, but I was digging these up and I was like, oh my God. So this company used deceptive advertising to entice customers to purchase their services. He purchased a $40,000 program. How desperate do you have to be when you talk to somebody? Like the promises that these people make where you're like, yeah, I want in on that. And then it's like, it's rough, you know? Like that's, ooh. And this is probably why it was advertised as done for you. That's most likely what it is. And because of the done for you nature, they signed up for it. They're like, yeah, I can make this work. Oh, hang on. I'm like blitzing in and out here. There we go.
Good.
I know, Cat. Hang on. You guys are gonna see me for a second. There we go. Nice. There, come on. There we go. All right. Now we're back. That's better. That's a little better, I should say. Okay. Now you can see the cat better. Now that I'm completely derailed, but here we go. One-on-one access to this guy at all times, right? Received the 40,000. They had 3 45-minute Zoom calls and some Google Slides, par for the course. And when they voiced their concerns, they were like, hey, this ain't really working out. I would like a refund. They were told to an attorney out of Michigan, which is, I'm guessing, is a different state. He hired an attorney to review, and that attorney was like, yeah, this is it's a waste of my time. Right? Because he's like, hey, their company, entity from Massachusetts, advertising is falsely representing cunt. Guys made millions off the false advertising, blah, blah, blah. Advertising all over the place. System in place to get people to pay, sign a contract. And that is not explained. This is another one, right? They'll get you on a call and they'll have you try to sign a contract that day. They're like, hey, I'm going to send this contract over and let's get you signed up right away. And they make it seem like it's really important that you sign it. And they're like, oh, everything's above board. If they don't want to go over everything with you, you should bail. If you're concerned, you can always just be like, all right, I'm going to have my lawyer review this. A lot of times, if you're like, I don't have a lawyer on standby, sure, but you can probably hire one even off of Fiverr or whatever for like $100 or something and be like, can you just look over this contract and let me know? And additionally, with AI getting smarter and smarter, you can just ask AI to look at it. At least if you don't have any money, that's a better choice than just saying, yeah, it looks fine. Because there's a lot of deceptive wording that they put in there, like legalese, that makes it really hard for you to get out of it, which is what they ran into. So he lost a total of 46.8. So he lost the 40,000 plus another 7,000. So he probably came in on the intro program and then bought the $40,000 upsell and got this. And he's like, hey, I'm one person out of money. What he said up here was, let's see, hired an attorney to review the contract. They had me sign it. He advised that the contract did not have legal capacity at the time it was signed, since they placed Massachusetts as the provisional venue, but they dissolved their company. So like they started the company up, they got as many people in as they could and dissolved the company. And they dissolved the company probably as soon as they started getting refunds, and they're like, hey, let's cut our money and run. Now this is all guessing. I'm not saying that's what happened. Please, this is an opinion of a random, right? Just based off of what I'm reading. As it looks like, it appears to be that they were like, I'm going to get my money, and they just bailed out, right? And that's very common. You'll see businesses change their names all the time. And a lot of times there's legal reasons for it. It could be a branding reason or something like that. But in this case, this has happened several times. So the other thing you want to look at if you're thinking about going with a company like this, is how long have they been around? Or just how long have they been around? I realize that there's a lot of companies that start new, but if a company comes out new and they've been around for a year and they're like, I've helped hundreds of businesses make millions of dollars, like bullshit. You have to hit the bullshit button so fast. There's no way. I would believe that if they're like, hey, we've already worked with several people and had massive profit, and then they show the results, their ROI went from 0.5 to 6.3. That's still really good for a lot of businesses. You don't need to fake it so hard, right? So if you're a newer business and you're like, hey, I want to have, like, how do I avoid this kind of scamminess? You just have to be honest. You don't have to fake it. I'm not saying they're faking it, but they're small, right? And then they're like, hey. But the other issue is, like, a lot of the lawyers won't take it because there's no money. So this is another person. Hey, I'm writing a complaint. That the reason why I'm pulling this up is because I want to show you guys how easy it is for you to believe that this works and that it never works. Right? Heavily promoted a program that whatever largely automated required minimal effort. And this is the big thing, right? Almost all of these say the same thing, is that it's very automated, minimal effort. You only need your phone. You'll come in the first month, you'll make tens of thousands of dollars. Like, you're gonna make 20K your first month. So what's the problem with paying us 10K? Just go get a loan for the 10K. So in 30 days, you'll make 20K. You can pay the loan off, which I'm sure was something along those lines of being pitched. And the reason why I say that is I've heard things similar to that from Grant Cardone sales videos that are hard to find, or you can't get them anymore. You get like the clips and he's like, whoops, like maybe I shouldn't have said that. And so he like scrubs it from the internet. And I'm not saying like that was intentional, right? Like Grant Cardone's iffy, but I'm not saying he intentionally was saying that, but I've heard things like that said. I'm not saying he ever tells people to do that. It's just similar stuff. I think he got in a lot of trouble because he did a sales video around Christmas and he was like, oh, instead of spending money on your kids for Christmas, take that money and invest in yourself, because then they can have a better Christmas next year with all the money. And I was like, whoa, dude, like, whoa. So that's,
Talk
and then
about manipulation.
yeah. Then he like went after Christmas, he went and they changed it and it's not in there anymore. But there was people reviewing the video from Christmas like, no, he said it right there. He doesn't say it here. So I think part of him knew he kind of screwed up a little bit and went and changed it. But anyway. So concealment of true program requirements. So post enrollment. So this person's like, hey, it's automated, it's easy, you don't need anything, you just need your phone, you need like somewhere to be, you got a shack, you got an Obama phone, like that's all you need. You're gonna make tens of thousands of dollars. You don't need to know anything, you don't need an audience, you can just be some random dude on the street. Which, in all honesty, if this was that easy, I would just like find a random homeless person and do it with them and make them money and sell that as my reason for people to get in. Like, look, I found some random, hopefully no longer crackhead, and I showed him how to do this, and look how much money he's making now, right? Like, you know what to do. And then he'll be all like, yeah, and then it's like, I have teeth again or whatever. But it's like, that's a better testimonial than, but anyway. So post enrollment. So now I'm bought in, I'm in the program. They deliberately withheld crucial information, adoy, because if you knew this, you wouldn't sign up. Until onboarding call was completed. This tactic effectively concealed the true nature of the program, which is the whole point. They want you to buy the promises, not the actual work. Involved extensive manual effort. So much for automation, right? They're like, automated immediately out the window as soon as you're in. Personal messaging, lead generation, and cold calling. So there's a side to this that is part true and part false. So this is what we call lying by omission, right? So he says, hey, it's fully automated. You can just come in and make tons of money. And guess what? You could do that if you had a really large audience, a huge list, and you've been in business for a while. Really easy. There's retargeting and follow-up emails. Those are like the two things nobody does. You add those two things and you're making tens of thousands of dollars more than you were before. But they don't say that in the video. It's almost like you could make, and then when you come in and they find out you don't have anything, they're like, oh, well, if you've got nothing, then you can't automate anything. You got to go in, you got to join groups, you got to actually build a reputation, you got to do the work. And that's not what people signed up for, right? The content revealed post onboarding was starkly different from the advertised automated solution. This is most likely because they tried the advertised automated solution and it failed horribly. I've seen this happen many times where they're like, hey, this is working for me, let's sell this. And the first batch they get in, it completely bombs. And so they change the whole structure, but they don't change the pitch because the pitch is working well. And they don't change the price because they like the money. But now they've completely changed what's actually happening. And then you get sort of this revolt. But hey, you can always dissolve your company, name it something else, and try again. So manipulative onboarding and refund policy, which is very common. Like they hide these shady details in here, right? The time of the onboarding call appears strategically planned to ensure that customers are unable to request a refund by the time the true nature of the program is revealed. So this is most likely indicating, hey, as in with any state, whenever you sign a contract, you have 72 hours in which you can say, no, cancel it, I want my money back. And they probably make it so that the onboarding call happens on day 4. So you sign the contract. They're like, we received the contract. Here's the next available. And it's like 3 days out. so that by the time you get the onboarding, you're now past the window in which you can request a refund. This is very shady, like very, very, very shady. And the businesses that I've worked with, I've always said, as soon as somebody signs the contract, get them on an onboarding call right away, like immediately, because you want that buy-in. Besides the fact that as soon as they sign it, they're going to feel some hesitation, but also elation at like the step that they're taking. And that's a perfect time to get them in and get them started, because then they don't have time to think about the money they just spent and then they have nothing to show for it. Frank Kern used to talk about this a lot. He said speed was it Frank Kern? Might have been Eric Louvier. Said speed to results. So it's like, say you bring on an onboarding client for an agency, the faster you can get them some kind of result right in the beginning, the happier they'll be, because otherwise they've just spent money and nothing happens. Yeah. Evasion of responsibility and censorship. So this is good. So they've been systematically removing negative feedback or complaints from their forums, which are their forums, so they're allowed to do it, but hey, it's kind of shitty, and address customer concerns efficiently. This is kind of like a double-edged sword, because sometimes you get somebody who's out of the program, but they're still in the forum and they're just raising hell. And so you have to be able to silence them and remove them. But when you have a majority, there's something else there. This pattern behavior demonstrates a calculated approach to avoid responsibility, maybe, or it's just like, it's part of their normal process of dealing with feedback. The problem that arises if all they're doing is eliminating the feedback and not addressing it. So sometimes businesses will remove negative feedback from like a forum that they're managing, but then they'll reach out to the person and say, hey, we got your message. This isn't the right channel to air these grievances, because there's other places besides the internal, like, by people who've bought and are trying to get help space. So that's very common. That's less of a concern, as much as if they were doing it and nobody was reaching out to them. And then they're like, hey, somebody's got to look into this, right? And they're like, now I'm $9,800 in debt. And then it's like, everybody's, and then this is awesome. So this is somebody, I don't know who this was like, hey, if anybody wants to speak to this guy directly, here's his phone number. I'm an assistant who worked for this guy, got fired for unreasonable reasons, and I can guarantee you this is his personal number. So this is like, you pissed off the wrong employee and you're like, get the hell out. He's probably like, hey, these guys are getting pissed off, and they're like, I like the money, get out. This is an imaginary scenario, please. All right. So in my imagination, he's like, hey, we have all these people who are upset, let's help them. And he's like, F you. And he's like, no, like, these people paid $10,000, like, we should help them. And he's like, get the hell out of here, you're worthless. If you won't just do what I say, you're gone. And he was like, oh, okay. Then he's like, hey, here's his number if anyone wants to call him. It's all make believe, didn't really happen. It's in my head, but it would be amusing if it did. So then we get into this. This is a longer one too. I'll just sort of cut through it. This is more, the reason why I'm going into this is, like I said, a lot of the stuff in the sales page is missing. So a lot of the stuff that they talk about to get people to buy in, I couldn't find, but I could find it in the complaints. So they promised $10,000 in revenue. So that's another thing. So they must be saying, hey, this program's 6,000 or 7,000, but we guarantee 10K in revenue, right? So that was somewhere on the sales page. And then he's like, he's had to repeatedly explain his questions. So like, he's bouncing through coaches. So these are probably like, $10 an hour coaches you find on Fiverr, Upwork, or Philippines.com or whatever, right? And it's like, they really don't know what they're talking about, but they say they're experts. And so every time you call in, you just get bounced to a new coach, and they aren't documenting anything. So it explains the problem. The coach is like, I don't know. And then he ends up having to call back, and they deal with the same thing over and over again. It's like, I got tired of asking the same question over and over in different ways. So it's probably a legitimate question, and they don't have the experience to be able to help them. So it goes, when I initially bought this program, there was no explanation of the right type of course that can benefit from the Growth Cave method. And this is what I said before. When you're looking over the sales page, he doesn't really define who can use it. It's very vague. And when it's very vague, you want to avoid it, because you want to have an outline of who this can actually help, and demonstrated by testimonials, because not everybody can use the program, because if they don't have something that fits that mold, then they've just wasted their money. So he's like, hey, my program is an online fitness program. Competitors offer much more reasonably priced courses. Now, that's just something I ignore personally. So if I was coaching this guy and he was like, well, everybody else is paying $500 a month and you want me to charge $5K? And I would be like, yes. But I'm not saying you just charge $5K for the exact same thing. There's some nuance to it. You need to be able to provide a service that is 10 times better, but doesn't cost you 10 times as much, so that they feel like they're getting exceptional service. Now, is that still a stretch? Sure, but it depends who you're talking to. If you're talking to local everyday people in middle class, yeah, forget it. You're never getting 5K a month out of these people. But guess what? There's this whole group of people called the upper middle and the upper class that have crap tons of money that they don't know what to do with, right? And they'll be more than happy. They'll think $5,000 is too low. And I'll be honest, they will think that. So it depends who you're marketing to, right? But so he says, even when I ask potential customers to have a call with me, which is what they say to sell the service. So they're saying, hey, you have to get on a phone call with these people to sell them. So that is a high pressure sales environment. So their automated, easy thing turns into a get people to book a calendar call with you and pressure the hell out of them on the call to sign up, probably using emotional manipulation and stuff like that. And the reason why I say that is if we go, I don't think it's here. Let me see. There was a section, I'd found it. Let me check my notes here. One of the guys that was in it is known to use hypnosis tactics in his sales messaging. And so I'm willing to bet he taught them a way of like almost like a self-hypnosis on the call. It's called conversational hypnosis to get somebody to be agreeable with you and be willing to go forward. This is really shitty sales tactics, but it's something that's out there, so you should be aware of it. So they use these, these big promises, stuff like that. They're like, hey, just get on a call, I'll give you some information. But then when you get in, this guy has this sales script that's, you feel like, oh, this is a good sales script, but you don't realize it's using this like hypnotic, manipulative tactic to get people to say yes to you. And then you have this money coming in and they feel good and then you're happy, but then you have to deliver. Now the delivering is the issue. If you can deliver, then you haven't done anything wrong. Now, if you get somebody on the call, maybe you're a little pushy, but that's okay, because if you can legitimately help them and they're willing to pay you, there's no problem with this transaction. Now, some people might be like, well, you're charging them too much compared to the $500 coach that they could hire, or the $20 a session, fitness guy down the street. Well, I agree with you. Yes, he's charging way more. There's also a bit of what I call skin in the game. A lot of people who spend more money on something are more willing to do the work, which means they get better results. So if you have a good program and you get somebody to pay you a larger amount than they would normally feel comfortable doing, you can almost guarantee that person's going to do the stuff, which is what you see here. These people have spent $10,000, $20,000, $40,000, and they're trying to put in the work. They're like, I'm doing the work. I'm ready to do this. Let's go. And what happens? Nothing. They get no results. The whole thing bombs. It blows up in their face. And so they go, hey, I'm doing all of this work that you told me about, but it's not happening, right? Like, what do I have to do? And then they don't really know, because they don't know what the hell they're doing, most likely, I'm guessing, by the fact that they couldn't give them results. So I'm trying to see, I think I had read it somewhere in here where it was like, for a reason to believe. One of the business owners was like a hypnosis guy, but if I can't find it here, that's okay. So what I did manage to find is a transcript of one of their old videos that they're not allowed to, that you can't see anymore, right? This copy and paste thing. Let me see if I can get this to move over a little. There we go. So this is like, they had a bunch of these videos. So I found this thing that was like, hey, this is all their videos. Let me see if I can expand this out a little bit. This is all their videos that are no longer listed. So you have these two that are listed and you have all these other ones. And this is just one thing of videos that are no longer listed. So I can't watch the video, but I have the transcripts that YouTube auto-generated and then archived. So they're still here so we can see what they're saying, right? So we can see the names of the videos, new way to make money on YouTube using other people's videos. Okay. Multimillionaire at 24 during a recession using the YouTube app on your phone, blah, blah, blah. So this is that app thing that he's like, basically is the new scam that he's running. And I say new scam because why are all these videos? No, that's not, they're like super private. You can't see them anymore. It's different than unlisted. Unlisted is like not public, which we'd then be able to watch the video. Private is nobody can see it except for him. And then some of these are deleted, so you can't even find them anymore. But so the way this video starts, from what I can tell, is through testimonials. So it's like, hey, check this out. 3 days ago, I closed my first client, a local realtor. Now received a notification that my second payment went through, right? Second has paid their invoice, whatever, or his second client has paid their invoice. And you guys can't see this. Let me move this over. There we go. Paid their invoice. I'm blown away by the whole process. Just closed. And then somebody else, I just closed my fourth client, $3,200 a month. I mean, I can't believe, that we've been doing this. Let's see. just this morning, I closed another client. So this is like stacking testimonials, which is a good way to get attention. If somebody's in this and they're like flipping their arm, someone's like, I just made $5,000. And some old lady's like, I just made 10. And then you have like this decrepit guy's like, 15,000. And then like you go down and you're like, I used to have a lemonade stand, but I just made 20K. And it's like some 12-year-old, right? Like it gets compelling. People are like, well, what the hell are these people doing? Right? That's all this is, right? $4,000 a month each. So we literally tripled our business revenue within the first month. And it's like, and I was actually freaking out. I was nervous, but I'm so glad that I took the leap and I started working. In the past 3 weeks, I've been able to secure 2 clients that are both paying me $1,800 a month. So they're just a few of my students. And this is where it comes in. So it's like, so those are just a few of my students that are now living their dream, making passive income online from anywhere in the world using a simple copy and paste system that countless people around the world have used to see incredible results. Like, this isn't a bad testimonial type video. You sort of stack these randoms together of all the results, varying results, but like all of them different levels of success. And it's like, wow, don't you want this too? Guess what? It's copy paste, right? But why don't they exist? And this is the thing I was saying about the page. Like, if we go back to the page, why don't they exist? Because these are real videos. If these are real videos by real people, there's no reason to remove the video, because nothing they said was false and nothing they said could get them in trouble. If this is what they did and these are the results I got, all you'd have to slap on there is a results not typical. Like, that's it. The reason why these are missing, and I think I glossed over it a little bit in the thing, is when they shut down one business and they started another, they reuse the testimonials word for word. So you have to get rid of the testimonials on here because it proves you're using the exact same testimonial on each one. You can't keep them live because they could be like, well, here's this video on this page, and here's this video on this page, here's this video on this page, and it's all the same guy saying the same exact thing. What the hell's going on? So the only thing you can do is get rid of it. But then it calls into question the legitimacy of it. Because one of it is, which essentially this was the original, there should be no reason not to leave the videos on this page. Because if this was the program they actually made money in, you could keep them here. If, that's a big if. I don't know if it is or not, but like I said, it screams like maybe it was a scam just by the fact that they're missing. So like if all the testimonial videos are missing, but so let's see. Sure, let's see. Gonna become a millionaire overnight. Guys, if you've ever seen those ads, I'm sure you've had. That thought seems too good to be true, and it usually probably is. And that's why I want to tell you about a real business where you can make $1 million overnight.
Wow.
It's so on its face. Like when you actually break it down, you're like, you've got to be kidding me. Like here goes. Like, I'm sure you've seen these ads with some guy standing in front of a rented Lambo, a rented mansion, telling you about how you just need to know, how you just need to, buy a ton of Amazon stock, or just invest in this one house and you're going to become a millionaire. So he's throwing shade at stockbrokers and real estate investors. He's like, hey, these guys tell you about like real ways to make money, but screw them. He doesn't actually say like they don't, because clearly there are still people making a lot of money with real estate investment and with stocks. But no, those guys they're horrible. And then I'll have you, let me move this tab over so it's easier for me to like find again. I'll remind you, this was the photo that he used, right? Just happened to be out on what looks like a personal lake somewhere. Seems kind of nice. And if we ever went to his Instagram, it's loaded with the stuff that he's calling out here, but that's besides the point. Right? Invest in your house, you're going to be a millionaire overnight. Guys, if you've seen those ads, I'm sure you've had this thought, seems too good to be true, right? So he's already like, yeah, you're like, yeah, it's too good to be true. And it seems, and that's, and it usually probably is, right? Usually probably. So he's not saying it isn't. It probably is. But how about a real business opportunity? So stocks are no longer a real business opportunity. Real estate investing is no longer a real business opportunity. This is a real business opportunity, right? Has nothing to do with any of the things that I just told you about. Not something that's going to make you a millionaire overnight, but a simple, so it's always simple, repeatable system that everyday normal people that you've never heard of and never seen anywhere and don't know of any, and I can't produce any anywhere, are using to replace their 9-to-5 job incomes and scale up to upwards of $5,000 and $10,000 a month. And I want to stress that first part, that these are everyday people. So as a marketer, what you have to understand is the people he's marketing to with these words are low income susceptible people. Not saying if you're low income, you're susceptible, but that's who he's going after. And what I mean is if you are skilled at what you do, chances are you've made it into the 6-figure kind of range of job. Doesn't mean you have. I know the economy is sort of like downturn, but like anybody who's really good at their job over time can easily achieve $5,000 a month. Like that's 60K a year, right? If you're really good at something, you can most likely find a place where you can make 60K a year, or 100K a year, which is the $10,000 mark. Not saying you're not working your ass off to get there, but you're gonna work your ass off to get here too. And he's just sort of implying, hey, it's copy paste. And the appeal of this is maybe you're only making $32,000 a year, which is not a lot of money. It's really hard to live on that, right? And he's like, but maybe you only make 5,000 extra a month. It's copy and paste. You're not going to do a lot of extra work. Like it's really easy. Like the things he's saying are very desirable to somebody who's struggling to make it with the finances that they've got. It's really hard for them to sort of hit these marks. And so using these marks is a way to get them up there. Now, how you get somebody who's already successful to grow further is you use different language. So if I was talking to business owners that I want to attract that are already making 6 figures, I would say, hey, are you stuck in the mid 6 figures and can't figure out how to get to 7 figures, right? Or are you tired of only bringing in $50,000 a month and you don't think you'll ever be able to get to $100,000 a month, right? Because those are significantly different numbers that a business owner who's generating revenue might be stuck growing, right? They might be having a hard time getting over the next plateau because maybe they're not sure how to grow. Maybe there's a problem with like they scale and the ads fail, which is very typical, or they start to scale and other stresses start to show up and they don't know how to handle it. So they're sort of stuck. And that language, like all the testimonials would be of business owners who are so easy, right? I felt like I went to sleep on Friday, woke up on Monday, my business had doubled in revenue. Like it's fantastic. Like I'm not spending it, like I'm spending more, but not nearly as much as I thought, or I tried to scale before and it failed and this was so easy. Like it's vastly different. So when I see like 5 to 10K and like, hey, I promise you can do 5 to 10K, which like I said, it's a lot of money if you're not making a lot of money. If you're making 60K a year and you're working 40 hours a week, you might not feel like it because of taxes, hooray, but it's less unreasonable, right? It's kind of like, okay, that's achievable. And what you're going for is you're going for a ad that makes you feel like these results are achievable. And even if I only get halfway there. So if you think about it, if you're like 5K, and if he's like, well, if I could just do half of that, that's like doubling their revenue, right? If you're making only $3,000 a month in your job and you're able to bring in 2,500 after taxes, that 2,500 is probably more than what you make at your job, right? So you just doubled your revenue. So it's very appealing. And that's why you get a lot of people to jump in on this. And then they're like, and you could make lots. So the people who are greedy are like, yeah. And is that I want to stress the first part. There are everyday normal people. Like I want to stress, it doesn't matter how stupid and slobbery and lazy you are, you can do it. Not saying people who are everyday are like that, but that's the implication. Doesn't matter if you don't think you can get it, or you're kind of dumb when it comes to these things, or you've never lifted a finger to improve your situation at all, you can do it too. Just buy my thing and then don't refund because you're lazy. Not saying everyday people are lazy. I'm just saying the people he's talking to are implied, and that's because he doesn't talk to them or refund them or do anything, and now he's got the FTC on him. So that's what he thinks, allegedly. For the love of God, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. And then he's like, and money. So it's like any previous business experience, they did not have a ton of money. Oh, so it's everyday normal people. And they did not have any previous business. So he's saying everyday people, nobody's ever had a business before. They didn't have any inventory. They didn't have any money to invest in any overhead. And with any of these other online business models, they were not online marketing experts. And that's the problem, which, yeah, I agree. It's the problem if you don't know what the hell you're doing in marketing, which is the problem they ran into, is they don't know what the hell they're doing in marketing because they couldn't tell anybody what to do in marketing. With a lot of these online business models, I'm sure they work in theory. He is like self-projecting. He's like, I'm sure this business model works in theory. Give me lots of money and let's test it together. Thumbs up. When I'm getting started with all this online business stuff, when I was still a broke college student, everybody's a broke college student. Why the hell are you saying broke college? If you're in college, you're broke. You literally take out a giant ass loan to go to college. There's nobody that outside of like the wealthy people just pay for it outright. 90% of people who go to college are a broke college student. Like, I was a broke college student. I still worked a job when I was in college. I knew a friend who wasn't a broke college student, but he was a broke college student. He worked 3 jobs to pay for school. I did not know a single person. So you don't have to put the word broke in there, but he's implying like, hey, I had no money and I was college, which means I was a friggin' idiot. I don't know what the hell I was doing. And I was able to make all this money. You can too, right? So I didn't have a lot of money to invest in when I was first getting started with all this online business stuff. I'm cool. Riz, yo. Aura points. I don't know what kids say these days. So I was never able to achieve anything with those business models for the exact same reason. So this guy's like, hey, I sucked at literally everything and never made any money, but this thing works. And I know because I failed at everything else. That's another like warning sign to me, because if you can't make your business work in one arena, chances are you can't in another. You can be successful in multiple arenas. Like if you can make your business work in one field, it's very easy to adjust and make it another. How do I know? Well, I've been a direct response marketer for more than 2 decades now, and I've helped businesses in all kinds of venues and niches make money. I was never sort of restricted to one, like literally all of them, even the MLM business op people who are the peers people to work with, but I was still able to make the ones who are willing to do the work a bunch of money. So it works across the board. It's not restricted to one. So what he should have, to make this better, what he should have said is, I had a little bit of success in each of these, but I felt like they were all missing a piece. And when I combined all my successes from all of these things, I finally figured out the way to actually make money, because I put all these pieces together. The best part is you don't have to buy 10 different programs and fail at all of them just to figure it out. Join this program and I'll give you essentially the best parts of those 10 programs that I figured out how to make money, and you can make money with me. That's compelling. I'd at least be more willing to listen to you instead of being like, I sucked at everything, but this thing I'm awesome at. Right? Like, okay. So like I said, warning signs across the board. I was never able to achieve anything with this business model, the exact same reasons. So if that sounds like you, if you're a normal everyday person that sucks at everything, you don't have a ton of online business experience, you're just getting started as a beginner from scratch. Worst people to work with, by the way. It doesn't mean like, hey, I was a beginner working from scratch at my own point in time. And if you're a beginner trying to start on something, just ask me a question, I'll give you some ideas, because you got to put in the work. That's the hardest thing. You put in the work, you'll make the money. You don't put in the work, it's never going to happen. But this is the promise of, hey, you've made nothing. You don't want to do anything. You don't even have to put in any work. Just give me $10,000 and you'll make money. Trust me, bro. It's yeah. So let's see, blah blah blah, no hype. So then he repeats himself, right? Experience you get started as a beginner from scratch, and you're tired of seeing all those Lambos, those mansions, people trying to catch your attention with their online ads. Click the link around this video. I'm going to be hosting a free live workshop. No hype, no fluff, just all hype and all fluff and all BS. Actually going to break down a real business, not a real business, but hey, I mean, he did make like over $50 million, so props to you. Model then, I mean, he's going to end up giving it to the government, so whatever. That everyday normal people are using to replace their 9-to-5 jobs, which if you have like hundreds of people, so I usually say it's the 10% because most people don't give you reviews. So if you had 100 people in the program, you should be able to get 10 of them to give you a real review, right? It shouldn't be too hard. And scale upwards of 5,000. See, so normal find job income and scale to upward of $5,000 and $10,000 a month is going to be verified, undeniable proof. There's going to be. I don't have any now. I may not have any later, but I promise that there's going to be. It's not going to have to do anything with, let's see, it's not going to have anything to do with the Lamborghini, which everyone knows that you can just rent for a day. So, right. So it's something you're interested in. You're so tired of all the life. And the funny thing is, like, the people who actually make real money, they don't care for Lambos. They're money hogs. It's like it's like the new retired wealthy. Like when you're done doing business stuff and being the face of things, go get a Lambo. Who are you trying to show off to? Nobody. You're trying to like tear off down the street with aerodynamic, whatever. I mean, I wouldn't get a Lambo now. It probably has square tires. I don't know if you've seen the commercial, but everybody be inclusive. No more round tires. So I'm not sure how fast they go now, but the idea is like, sure, like there's no harm in owning a mansion, but there's a question of why do you own a mansion, right? And where do you own a mansion? If you're just owning a mansion for shits and giggles, the idea is like old money, right? So it's a lot of these younger people who see people with old money, and these old money people have cars and houses and jets, and like they don't know what to do. They sneeze and money appears. Like, and it's like there's a bit of jealousy there. Like, who wouldn't want to, like, I'm jealous too. I'd love to be able to sneeze and like thousands of dollars come out, like, and have a butler show up, like, here's your $100 napkin. So I'd be like, thank you, butler. Right? Like, that's not my name. I don't care. Like a lot of people are like, yeah, that'd be nice. So there's a bit of jealousy there. But then it's like, oh, they're bad. Like, you don't want a Lambo, you don't want a mansion, because you could just rent those. Nobody actually owns them. It's like, oh, okay. Sure. But it's so that's a little confusing to me. But it's just like, okay, like there are benefits to it that he doesn't really talk about. So anyway, if you're interested, if you're tired of all the hype, then join this hypey, like this whole thing is hype. And if you're finally ready to start getting results, click on the video. Class will be hosting later today. So that's this guy. And it's yeah. Please, for the love of God, don't wow, you're missing. And I'm missing.
Oh.
Yeah. I gotta readjust this. Let me grab. There we go. Oh, cams I'm missing. There we are. Here we go. Last. I need to remove you and then re-add you. Give me a second. And then why aren't you here? Let me remove you and add you. If anybody's like, what the hell's going on? Yeah, I know. That's because I'm technically inept. Let's see. Current guest. No, that's not you. Where are you? It wrong. Okay. Bear with me. Technical problems.
Okay.
Oh, and I gotta one more second. Filters. There's no filter. Where's my? There I am. You're like, hey. I'm in here somewhere. Ah, right. So you were on the wrong camera. Wow, that's exciting. That's me. That's me. There's me. There's you. I need to only me filters. Why? Only me. Why in the world? See, this is why I have a hard time with these things.
Oh.
They don't. But I'll get there. Bear with me, people. Let me go to everyone's like, what are you doing? Here we go. Filters. There we go. That should do it. There we go. There.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you. Only took an unnecessarily large amount of time. All right.
It's okay.
So it's like you look at it afterwards and you're like, yeah, of course I wouldn't fall for that. And the reality of it is that they're preying on you somewhere. And I mean this in all sincerity, is I have not found a single person promoting a make money online product that can actually follow through in a way that's reasonable, right? I'm sure there are some out there, but a lot of times I get into the programs and it's either very basic, which means you can get this information anywhere, and there's a bit of, well, you don't have to curate it yourself, right? You don't have to go looking for it yourself. But if you were to try and find somebody to help you with your business, I would say either find something specific, like you're having trouble doing X, instead of just the promise of tens of thousands of dollars more. You're actually like trying, I'm having trouble with my ads, or I'm having trouble with this. And don't look for a program that promises it. And it's probably overdone, but it's like, oh, find a mentor or something like that. And yeah, the reason for it is because you can vet them, right? So for example, if I put a course out, I'd probably put out and say, hey, this is like generic. Like this will help you with 80% of the issues. But if you actually start doing this and getting success, those 20% that I can't cover in the course because it's impossible are going to show up and they're just going to like explode in your face. It doesn't mean you're going to have problems, but you'll be like, I don't know how the hell to manage this. That's because there's a lot of nuance in business, if you've been in business for a while, that you cannot SOP, which is the whole problem that I was saying with him, is you cannot put down in a document, here's how to deal with this issue if this is happening. Can give you guidelines, but to actually sort of figure out what the hell's going on, you either need the experience or you need to find somebody who has the experience. How do I know this? Because I've been doing this for 2 decades. And if I could have figured out a way that I could just easily systemize it and be like, here, do this, I would have done it. right? I'm working on a book to try and get some of this, but it's like 70-30. Like the more I get into it, I'm like, there's so much nuance to whichever platform, whichever whatever. I can give you guardrails like, hey, like don't go over here, don't go over there, try and stay in this area. And you can do fairly well with that. Like you can start to make progress. It's just when you hit the little bumps, if you don't know what to do, it's just that little bump becomes a friggin' boulder in your path to success. But these guys prey on the thought that the reason why you're not successful is because you don't have that one little secret. One little secret that works for everybody. Guaranteed. Super promise. Trust me, bro. Copy, paste, money. Like, come on. Yeah. And, sure. And they'll also sell you a piece of bridge. Like but a lot of times what it is as a business owner, you reach a point of desperation where you're struggling with something. And so you don't think clearly. And then you have this ad that's like some 25-year-old kid who's like hanging out on a beach. And he's like, tired of those gurus talking about hanging out on the beach with all their babes and money. And he's just like surrounded by literally that. And he's like, don't listen to them. Follow my copy paste thing that made me a bunch of money to help me be surrounded by babes and money or whatever. Right. And it's like,
just circle back.
Yeah, it just circles right back into it. It's because people get so hung up on that one thing that they just don't know, that if they just knew what they could do, that they're like, oh, I'll just do this. And this guy's an extreme example of it because he's impacted so many people, which is why I pulled up the ad, because when you see that ad, which you can't really see anywhere, but like as you dig through more of them, you can see what makes an impactful ad. So if I was to take from this and I'd be like, all right, well, couple of things. One, like I said, if you're a business owner and you're trying to reach the next level, you're trying to do something that's stopping you. Find somebody who has that skill set, right? If it's marketing or identifying products, so you can ask someone like me, or just find somebody who's an expert at doing that, right? There's always me. But I know there's other people out there. Not a lot of them, but there's other people out there. Start with somebody who can help with that specific thing. Don't look for somebody who can do everything. And don't look for somebody who can copy paste results. Right? Like I understand AI is a thing, so copy paste becomes a little more viable, but even then it's not so cut and dry. It just really isn't. It's just really not cut and dry. It just isn't. Like you have to know the nuance. Outside of that, if you're newer and you're looking to start, stay away from it. Stay away from anything that promises success. Absolutely. Right? What I would look for is I would look for something that you have a vague interest in. So when I made my first real money, it was with an e-commerce store, importing stuff from China or whatever. Before it was cool, and then they got flagged and all that other crap. But importing products from China and reselling them, and then it was importing, and then it was getting licensed products, and not illegally licensed products. Like I got approved to sell licensed products, like Harry Potter stuff and things like that, and that was very lucrative. But I had to go through the hoops to get it. But I always had an interest in importing and exporting. So it was very easy for me to actively go through the hurdles that come up with it and have success. And that was like one of my first personal successes. I helped a lot of businesses do stuff too, but like I never wanted to start my own plumbing company. I never wanted to start my own HVAC. I wasn't interested in chiropractic. I wasn't interested in like helping the random t-shirt shop down the street, like or starting my own. No, but if somebody needs help, I don't mind helping them because the tactics work, and they'll struggle through the little issues that'll come up, but they'll apply the tactics and they'll make money. So that's sort of what I would say. Now, if you're like, well, you don't have anything, well, okay, I'm sure there's something. Yeah, a lot of times it's you identify a problem and then do you have a solution for it, right? And if you don't have a solution for it, do you know one of the steps of the solution? There's actually an interesting guy who's been popping around. Like there's a PDF farming thing that showed up that sort of took the idea and went wild with it. But there was this guy I found, and he was a really cool guy. I didn't buy his thing or anything, so I didn't have to because I knew what he was doing. But he was like, hey, ignore all that crap. You can just sell a PDF and make tons of money. Click this video below and I tell you how to do it, right? And I was like, all right, where's the sales video? It wasn't. It was like another YouTube video. And he was like, hey, it's really easy. It was like this 5-minute video. It's really good. He was like, hey, this is really easy. He's like, ignore everybody who says how to make it. Like, that's all crap. He's like, this is all you got to do. Do you know how to do something? Have you lost 5 pounds? Have you learned how to do this? Like, what's the one thing you've recently discovered or are good at? Can you put it into a 1-page PDF? If you can, do that and make videos and tell them to buy that for like $7. And I was like, yes, because that's where you start. You start with something where you're just helping people achieve something. It's lose 5 pounds, it's build a staircase, it's whatever, right? Whatever you've done recently that you've had some success with. It could be, hey, I figured out a way to get more people to talk to me on Facebook Messenger, and I put it in a one-page ads, give you some talking points and some ways to set it up, and it's $5, right? Are you gonna make crap tons of money? No, you might make 500 to $1,000. And the idea is like, hey, if you put 10 of them out, no, they're not all going to make that money, but half of them probably will, or 2 or 3 of them will make it probably a couple thousand. And now you've got some nice money that you can use to play around with. Right. And so like, I appreciated that video, because that guy was just like, yeah, like this is what I try to do, just tell you, like, it's just this. Like, because there's always more, there's always like more nuance. You're going to get, I'm sure he gets people who are like, help me do it. And he's like, all right, it's whatever, $500 for an hour or something like that, which there's no problem in that because people need help or they don't really need help, but they're scared. And so he offers that sort of confidence to them. But like there are so many ways you can easily make money and easily make lots of money that you should not rely on some random that like insists that you have to do it this way, copy paste, then you can make 5-10,000. Like I just call bullshit. Like there's just no way, Have you seen anything like that? You have any thoughts? I know you were here for like.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I've seen it, a lot of that over the last 10 plus years, and all across the board in
It's
all
been around
types
since
of,
forever.
yeah, in all types of business opportunities. And I mean, there's even, like local businesses that kind of have like, similar-ish online marketing, like scummy sales tactics, but they
Yeah.
apply it in their like brick and mortar, like
Yep.
to recruit salespeople. Because I've been, I did even, there's life insurance and stuff, and that's a whole,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, you're gonna blah, 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 make all this money. And it's like the same, that's what I've noticed. I'm like, damn, it's all the same
Yeah,
kind of
if
thing.
you want to
And
see like the old school version of this, go apply to be a life insurance rep. Like go
yeah,
apply somewhere, like make it your best, most amazing, even if you have no desire, just get that first interview so you can hear the pitch. Because when you hear that pitch and then you see these videos, you're going to be like, holy shit. Because it's exactly, because they're like, this is because the idea that most people want new stuff. Like there isn't anything new. It's been around for ages, right? I'm sorry. It just has been. There's very little new. There's innovation, but there's invention is scarce, especially in the marketing sales space. So if you go back and you go back to, you can go back a little bit and see infomercials. Before infomercials were banned and then before they were unbanned. So like infomercials came on the scene, then they banned them, and then they were like, they're not so bad. And then they unbanned them and they're back. Go back and see the old infomercials before they were banned. And you'll see this, like, this amazing product does everything. Here's testimonials from old decrepit guy, little child, morbidly obese, super skinny person. Look how easy it is. Best, and not, that's not all. I'm going to throw in more, right? Like the old Billy Mays ads are good too. But it's like, if you go to the old infomercials, you'll see that sort of pacing, especially in the real estate niche. Like if you want to see this sort of structure over again, you go into the real estate investing or like the wholesaling or the no money down, get your house, and make money from it. You go to the older ones, not the more recent ones, although they still kind of do it. You just go to the older ones, you'll see it over again. Then once you have that knowledge, if you go back a little bit further, you look at evangelicals. So if you look at some evangelicals, the way they pitch from the stage, and the fact that these mega churches make lots of money should tell you something. But evangelicals do it. And then you can go all the way back to snake oil salesmen. Everybody's been doing this for ages. You know how snake oil salesmen used to do it? They would have 1 or 2 people in the audience that they've paid to be there to raise their hand as they volunteer and have miraculous results. And that would cause other people to do it. This is the same shit over again. Either you're making it up, or like I said in another video, God forbid you're using AI to make a pretend testimonial. That's like, do you understand that like snake oil salesman has a negative connotation for a reason, and you're doing the exact same thing just with a robot?
and
with
they're
the
pitching
snake oil
programs
salesman,
about
they
it.
could
Like
get a little mad at both.
just make a bunch of fake shit and sell your shit.
Yeah, back in the old days, people would be like, and don't you have some personal dignity to not just like shell for this man? And they'd be like, oh, I'm going to get reformed. Here's money for the church. But now it's like, there is no and you. It's all you using shitty sales tactics, shitty meaning very effective, but used in the wrong way. and
Mhm.
convincing AI to get people to give you money, that if you have a good product, you shouldn't need to do this, right? Like
That part.
there was a guy I worked with. He struggled a lot, but as I was working with him, we made his ads amazing. Like, he got it because I worked so much with him. I saw him put together an ad and had good results. He knew what to do. I was like, awesome. His product was crap. He couldn't sell it. And the reason why he couldn't sell it is he was going after realtors and he didn't have the budget to go after realtors. Realtors are a very expensive niche because they have lots of money. If you get a few of them, you can make lots of money. He didn't have lots of money to spend on ads. His ads were effective though, and he was getting good results. And I said, look, you're not really going to make the break you need going after this, but you've now developed a really strong skill set. So I want you to do is go into your local town, see who's running Facebook ads, and offer to help them first. Be like, hey, I'm starting this thing. I need a testimonial. I have this thing that works. So what I'm going to do, if you're willing, is I'll go into your ad account. I'll fix your ads. We'll watch the results together. And if you get good results, will you give me a testimonial? He did that. He got 2 clients that said yes. He both got them results. They turned into paying clients. That was the last time I talked to him. So it's like, you can take, even though he had this massive failure he'd been working on for a year, complete failure. I worked with him for a few months. He developed a skill that I said, you can take this and you can help local businesses with this. And then, I still talked to him in case he had any other hiccups, but he was able to help them and he was able to generate some revenue, but he had no money, right? So it's like, if I have no money, I have no skill. All you need is a skill. You just need one. You don't need to copy and paste. You do need to put in some work. You need one. And then you can take that and you can actually go out and you can get real results. Anything you're doing, you can get a testimonial for. You just go and offer your services in exchange for, not for free. A lot of people go, well, that's free. You have to make it explicitly clear. This is a transaction. I'm giving you this and you're giving me that. Now, you don't have to say a good testimonial, which is what I said before. You don't have to make it good because I'm doing this for you. I want honest feedback, authenticity. Tell me the truth in the testimonial. If I suck, tell me I suck. Doesn't mean I'm going to post it on my site, but at least I'll know, right? If it was good, it was good. If it was excellent, tell me it was excellent. But be honest, because people can tell. That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
So, like, there are ways to do it. So that's just something to keep in mind. So yeah, and then it's like I went digging, and like I said, they had several more companies. I was like, the Passive Apps one, which was their rebrand, they had it like sold with full service upgrades that cost thousands of dollars. It's basically like a copy paste version of the other model they had. They just renamed it. So the FTC was like, no, this is the exact same thing, and they like smacked it down. One of the other guys did a spin-off as well, promising to help. This was closed sales for business owners. So he started something that was like, hey, I'll help your I'll help you guys, your sales guys close. But it was a version of one of their other programs in Growth Cave. So they got smacked down for that too. It's like, it's all getting lumped in. And this was this guy, let's see, separately. It's this bait guy. He has this, his hypnosis and mindset angle from Growth Cave. This is the guy that has like those things. That's why he's doing the sales stuff, right? He's like, hey, I've got this hypnosis mindset shift. It's like NLP or whatever you want to call it. It's like, there's a way you can structure a conversation that gets somebody to say yes and realize that they should buy this, even if they shouldn't. And that's probably what he was doing. And then all of them, they were still trying to do their whole business credit thing, which is like, hey, give us thousands of dollars and then I'll just call around and see if I can get your business lines of credit. That's all. That's what it says they did. They might have done more, but that's all it really says. Oh man.
To open up a bunch of business credit cards for them.
Yeah, they're like, hey, your business has credit now. It's like, well, all you did was like call around and I paid you $7,000 for that. Biggest issue is it says rebrands don't erase violations. So you really have to be careful of, if you just rebrand and you're like, hey, let's do this again. Like, come on. The literally impossible to fail. Yeah. Never use phrases like it's literally impossible to fail. I would say it's literally impossible not to fail. It's literally impossible not to fail. Like, you're gonna fail. And if somebody says like, why? Like, if somebody's like, hey, I'm thinking about starting a business, should I say like, do you like your job? And if they say yes, I'd say don't. And if they say, well, I'm like, because you're gonna fail. Right? It's like, not being mean, you're just gonna fail. And it's like, if you're thinking about it on a whim, like, I'm thinking about doing a business, like get fucking out. You know what the hell? The first roadblock, you're just going to give up. Not saying you will. There are plenty of people who don't. But it's like, you need to burn the boats behind you kind of mentality. I'm not saying you quit your job. I'm just saying you need to have, like, going after it, you're going to have a lot of struggles. And if you're not willing to put in the work and do the effort and like deal with all of the strife that comes up, like, forget it. Like, the easiest job I could think of that you could do is like Uber Eats, right? You take your car and you go pick up food, but you're not really a business, but that's how they sell it. You're basically a glorified employee. You're like a 1099 worker, because it's not your business where your business is taking the orders and you're placing them and you're getting all that revenue. You're just like a glorified delivery driver. But you could start there and see how that works. But there'll be days where you're like, yeah, I don't want to work. And when you have your own business, you could be like, yeah, I don't want to work. And that's like, sets you back miles. You know, you need to put in the effort. So I'd say, if you like your job, and if you're like, I don't like my job, I'd be like, well, can you move to another job? And the reason is, it's just like, if you look at the data, like, why is it 90% of businesses fail in the first 10 years? I'm sure it's more than that. Many factors. Most of them are because they went into the wrong business, wrong atmosphere, wrong environment, wrong whatever, right? Like, there are in-demand needs that people identify, and then there's like, follow your passion, and you can follow your passion right into being broke. Like, that's like, this is what's going to happen. The ideal business, and this I've had this conversation with people who are business owners. The ideal business is one that you enjoy doing, right? The work. You enjoy doing the work where it doesn't feel like work. But that you grow it to a point where that all you have to do is the stuff you love. And you can outsource the rest of the business, right? Do you want to handle customer calls? You've got an employee for that. Do you want to handle payroll? You've got an employee for that. Do you want to do shipment? Got an employee for that. Not in this particular instance. And all you're doing is maybe the designs or something like that. However, to get there, you have to do all of that shit first. You have to answer the calls. You have to generate the leads. You have to do the pack. You have to do all the stuff that's going to drive you absolutely mad. And what will happen is that 5% of the time you're going to do the thing you love, and 95% of the time you're doing all the crap that you can't stand. And you need to ride that out long enough to generate enough revenue to start pulling some of that stuff out, because you won't hit revenue so fast that you'd be like, I can export all this stuff. Like, your business will then explode, like, in a bad way. Like, it'll implode, I should say. Like, all your money will be gone, and you'll have like a month you don't make any money, and you've got all these people you have to pay, and now you're SOL. So it's like, yeah, you'll get like 1% at a time start packing it on. So it's, yeah, like, I wish there was a copy paste. It doesn't exist. Copy paste is like one of the first things I've seen as like a common thing to be sold. When Google Ads first started, one of the first products I ever saw was like, copy and paste my Google Ads to make money. Like, copy and paste has been around forever. And the reason why it's been around forever is because it means I don't have to think, right? And now it's like you have the AI step, so people think it's a little bit more clever. Copy and paste my prompts into AI, and then it'll be smart for you. No. You have to have some understanding. Like, you have to. I've taken some of those copy and paste prompts for like copy or ads, and I've been like, wow, this is garbage. And then I have to like rip it all apart. Now, sometimes it's a good structure. Sometimes it has some good highlights, and I'm like, oh, this part's good. I can keep that. And I change a whole bunch of the rest. If you have zero skill, you're just gonna be like, this is awesome. And then you run into the issue of everybody's copying and pasting off of everybody. So you start to go out and you start to see ads that are very similar to the ads you've done, and you think that means that the ad is good, but then everybody sees those ads and they get tired of them. It immediately shows up as an ad, and you're like, get out of my face. Mm-hmm. So anyway, anything you want to add into this? Thanks for sending this my way. He's the one who told me about this.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, when I first saw it, I was shocked, but not shocked. I mean, it's great to see that, it's getting cracked down on more and more, because it's just like, this stuff has a huge negative effect on people and just paints the complete wrong picture about business and, just everything. And, just like the whole copy and paste thing, you got all these people believing it's copy and paste. And then, yeah, the one roadblock, they're like, I can't do this anymore or whatever, because their expectations are completely mismanaged. And they're just buying into all this hype.
Yeah. And to that point, that's why I was reading some of those complaints. That's literally what the guy was complaining about, right? He's like, hey, I did this stuff. I have questions. Like, something is not working. I can't get an answer. And like, yeah, they have no clue what they're doing. They go, just copy paste, you'll be fine. And then they're not. And they're like, well, you should have been. Can I have my money back? Well, you copy and pasted. It's not my fault it didn't work. Like, dude, it's literally your copy and paste. Someone's doing it didn't work. There's nobody else to blame. It's only you that's to blame. And if you can't fix it, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
But Yeah, that's why I spent a bit of time going over those, like I said, because a lot of the stuff on the page is missing. So I have to go off of like, they said this. And I know that's not entirely accurate. There are two sides of things, but it gives me a bigger picture. The stuff that they don't have on the page anymore and the stuff that these people are saying, okay, like they're not saying anything that's still on the page. They're saying stuff that I can't find on the page anymore. And now the Wayback Machine didn't have it. I looked. I was like, damn. But it's like, I'm sure it's somewhere. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's one of those things like, yeah, the too good to be true, it falls in the copy and paste.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean there aren't, like, when it comes to AI stuff, doesn't mean there aren't good prompts out there. The problem is, how do you know it's a good prompt? You're relying on, trust me, bro. And if you're relying on, trust me, bro, you're going to lose money. And that you can trust me, bro, on. Like, it's not going to work out well. You have to be able to discern if what you're looking at is quality. And with all of the crap that's going on, you have to find a way to find a legitimate review. One of the best things that's happened to Amazon was verified purchase, right? I think Steam does that too. Steam's like a gaming thing you can load up. You'll see reviews and like you can tell they've actually bought it, or product received for free is what you'll see, right? It'll say product received for free. And you can see the number of hours they've used on it. Those give you more legitimate credence over what you have to say about it than just having random videos, but you're not sure if this person actually bought. So one of the things that you could do is if you could find a way to say like verified purchase, or this person actually, like if you could have that sort of external purchase, that's probably like a business someone's going to start now. You're welcome. Give me 10% royalties. But it's like to find a way to make that sort of function for anybody else who's got an online store, that would help a lot. It's also why a lot of places like Shopify feel more legitimate, because even though the store might go away, Shopify is the big brother who owns your store, right? Like if you sell on Etsy, Amazon, or Shopify, people are more willing to buy from you, because if you screw up, they can still get money from Shopify, Etsy, and Amazon, and Shopify, Etsy, and Amazon will give you the boot, right? Because they're looking out for the customer, because customers are going to buy from more stores. So that's something to keep in mind, that it's like, hey, I need a way to make this legitimate. You might go with one of the big three that I consider like big e-commerce three. eBay's somewhere in there. I don't know where they are. eBay feels like it's scammy. I don't know if it still is anymore. But that also means you lose control, right? You have less control, but that lack of control gives the consumer feeling like they have more control, which is why the purchase comes easier. There's the whole refund policies and all that stuff. You know, but that's all. That's all I got. Don't get scammed. Don't lose $50 million or be one person of $50 million. You want to say goodnight, Kitty?
Yep. Perfect timing.
Good night.
What is the closing segment here?
Yeah, right. What's the closing segment? It's me petting my cat as she stares into the camera. Hopefully I'll have like intro videos and outro videos. There you go. Yeah, look at you. But till next time. This is Profit Architect. This is Eric. Need help with your business? Let me know. Otherwise, if you feel like that's scammy, it probably is. And I'll talk to you guys later. See ya.